Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Mitchell Ringos. Despite the rain, hundreds of families made their way out to Chippewa Park this afternoon for the second annual Children's Festival. The event was in support of Our Kids Count and featured a variety of activities for kids of all ages. Jessica Clement reports.
Chippewa Park was crowded with families who were all excited to be back for the second annual Children's Festival. The event featured a broad range of activities for kids of all ages, including bouncy castles, a petting zoo, face painting, and amusement park rides. We spoke to some kids who were excited about everything the festival had to offer.
Really fun.
How come? What's so fun about it?
The bouncy castles, and I got to hold the baby bunny.
The fun thing about this is that I got to pet a goat, and I got to pet bunnies, and I got to get both of our faces painted.
Ian Angus, project manager for Friends of Chippewa Park, says when they saw rain in the forecast, they had to decide whether to cancel the event or continue it, knowing outdoor activities would be restricted. He says luckily the pavilion gave them enough indoor space to rearrange some things and keep the festival going.
And I'm so glad because we've had hundreds of people come out starting at 10 o'clock this morning, and then they keep coming. And they're having a great time, and that's what this is all about. And the more that we program, the more that people use the park, the greater the revenue that the city gets from the rides and the concession and the tourist camp. So it's a win-win all the way around.
The event was held in support of and to create awareness for Our Kids Count, an organization that provides a number of programming for families in need. Development manager Emmy Hendricks admits that they were a little worried about the forecast, but says the rain didn't dampen the spirits of attendees.
We've seen so many faces come through. I'm sure we're in the hundreds of people that have come through today. It has not stopped anything, and the activity is pretty tremendous. And just to see the smile on the kids' faces, it doesn't matter if it's raining outside because they're just as happy whether it's raining or not.
More information about future events at Chippewa Park can be found online at chippewapark.ca. Jessica Clement, TBT News.
Today's rain also forced the law enforcement torch run indoors, leading to dozens of Special Olympic athletes taking part at St. Patrick High School's gymnasium. The event typically takes place at Chapels Park. However, the weather didn't dampen the spirits of attendees, as smiles could be seen on everyone's faces. Walkers took multiple laps around the gym to allow every athlete the chance to carry the torch. The torch run raises funds to provide athletes the opportunity to take part in sporting events locally and around the world. Athlete Nadine Simmons says it's also a chance to showcase the Special Olympics movement in Thunder Bay.
Involvement in the community, and you get to meet other people. It's great to have all of their support and knowing that they're helping to raise funds for us to be able to participate in what we love to do.
Just locally, we get to send our athletes down to provincials in Toronto, and their airfares, accommodations are all paid for, and a lot of that is through the Law Enforcement Torch Run. Law Enforcement Torch Run Ontario alone raised $1.9 million last year for Special Olympics.
It's a serious decision for Thunder Bay City Council tomorrow night, with administration recommending $1.5 million in service cuts. It comes in response to Council's budget season request for administration to find cuts to bring the tax levy hike down to 4%. The 28-item list has significant service cuts, including the closure of Nebing Arena. Along with this, it's being recommended to reduce outdoor rink operations by 80%, which would mean closing 31 sites. The cuts would come with job losses, about 11.5 full-time equivalents in total. CUPE Local 87 would see some of their members affected by the cuts, and President Derek Fournier says in response, the union is asking for public support at City Hall before tomorrow's council meeting.
We need to nurture the development of those programs for youth in our communities so that we can put it forward, and you know, we're concerned about the future of our community, and this will help them. Making those cuts is not going to help. We need to fight for what we have before it's gone. And I would also like to join the put an invitation out to the public to join us on Monday at 4:30, where we'll be in front of council.
It's also being recommended to shut down 2 bus routes, including one in Nebing and another serving Fort William First Nation. The First Nation has not been consulted on that recommendation. Goods & Co. Market was turned into a banquet hall last night for Ballou's Farm's farm-to-table dinner. The event was a fundraiser to support their gleaning food sustainability program. Attendees were treated to a 5-course dinner comprised entirely of seasonal and local ingredients from Ballou's Farms and Superior Seasons Farm Store vendors. The dinner was also an opportunity to educate the community about the gleaning program, which is a joint venture with the Thunder Bay District Health Unit. Ballou's Farm co-owner Jody Ballou's says the funds will help them invest in an expand agriculture community outreach program to create more accessible gleaning opportunities.
Sometimes gleaning has been known as being like the leftovers in the fields. For us, that's not really exactly what's happening, but it's more when the picking gets a little bit tougher for our pick your own crew and our fresh pick crew, then the gleaners come on in and scoop up the rest of the top quality produce that we have in the fields and have a day out in the farm. So a super meaningful experience and a way to get more local food into more local bellies.
Kiiwetinoong MPP Saul Mamakwa is calling for better runways and airports for the Fly-In First Nations of northwestern Ontario, saying airports are lifelines for remote communities. Mamakwa was in Pikangikum First Nation recently, where he denounced the quality of runways in the region. He says larger aircraft simply can't take off from the 3,500-foot gravel runways that are typical in Fly-In First Nations. He's concerned the issue could affect First Nations' capacity to evacuate in an emergency. He wants Ottawa to invest in longer paved runways.
Imagine, a 6-ton vehicle going 160 kilometers per hour, on a gravel. That would not be allowed anywhere else. And I think that's important to, the safety of the people that live here, the safety of the passengers. 200-300 feet makes a big difference. Sometimes, you have 25 planes come into Pikangikum on a daily basis. So, there's a lot of traffic here.
Relying on smaller aircraft increases shipping costs for food and other essentials, says Mamakwa. He takes issue with the quality of the airports themselves and wants Queen's Park to bring facilities up to a standard that would be acceptable elsewhere in the province. Pikangikum First Nation held a high school graduation this past week in which the largest class ever received their diplomas. Lee Noonan was there.
Pikangikum's 2023 graduation ceremony saw a record-high 41 students receive their high school diplomas.
It was a very huge day for us here in Pikangikum First Nations because we had a huge turnout of our graduates.
20 grade 12 grads were joined by a cohort of 21 adult students getting their diplomas through the Prior Learning Assessment and Recognition Program. Students like Geraldine Peters, who received her diploma in the same ceremony as her daughter Lakota.
She worked pretty hard. She had her struggles during the high school years, and that's why I'm so proud of her, that she was able to accomplish, she was able to finish getting her diploma.
Like, I watched her work very hard, like I've seen her work long hours and then do her PLAR work practices, and I'm just very happy to see her graduate today.
In a community where students face many barriers to education, graduation is a big deal. High school valedictorian Denzel Quill gave a heartfelt speech touching on the pride he feels towards his classmates, the struggles they all faced, and on the death of his best friend.
When I'm done crying, I just think about what they would want for me, and especially my bestest friend, Xander. He would have wanted me to continue to go to school.
Chief Keeper says that she was overwhelmed by the significance of the occasion and the support that came from all corners.
I'm very proud of all the graduates, and I'm very thankful we have such a good education team from the PLAR and from this beautiful school here. We have such good teachers. The things we accomplish, it doesn't take one person, it takes all of us.
Lee Noonan, TBT News.